Welcome back to another week and another video here at Barham Engines. When I sounded pro there. So mate, Monday.
Yeah.
Early one today, 4:15.
Absolutely killing it.
Yes, well ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
What we got going on? What can we tell them? The 2 litre wet belt, nearly done.
Nearly done.
Big shortage of front covers at the minute.
There is.
Probably a reason for that, because everyone's changing belts or engines.
Well, you can get a front cover, but they want a ridiculous amount of money at Ford, don't they?
How much?
They want 190 quid.
For a tin plate?
Yeah.
Of course they do. So we're getting ours from Ultra Parts, aren't we?
Yep.
Genuine or aftermarket?
It's aftermarket, but I mean, it's virtually the same. It's a tin cover, isn't it?
Tin cover, mate.
Can't go too far wrong.
It's the way you fit them, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we're waiting for that. You just got to plonk the sump on.
Yeah, I'll do that. I want to do that last, so I can just make sure everything's all good before we.
Good man. Good man.
I like to do sumps last. I don't like doing them before I'm finished.
I know what you mean. I find if I do the sump before doing it last, get a bit paranoid on whether I've done everything up.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Give it one last check, innit?
Yeah, I just like to be able to see it all, and I go, yeah, that's all good. I can put the sump on now, and it's done.
Yeah.
Sumps always last for me.
That's it. So Chris apparently he's got 1500, isn't he, for us to do after?
Yep, think so. Which that's not a wet belt one, is it? That's
No.
a little 8 valve.
That's right, yeah. On the boring bar at the moment is the little Lotus block.
Yeah.
So I bored that out. I wanted to get the block on the boring bar just to see what it will clean at before I order all the bits. John's going to check the crank, just make sure that's okay.
It's got to be ground, isn't it, that crank?
It's got to be ground, yeah.
Yeah,
but he
but
says it's going to clean at
it's gonna clean.
1010,
Yeah.
mains on the big end. So that's good news. So we'll order all the bits from Burton there.
Yeah.
Most of the bits from Burton. Do us a good deal, and they hold all the stock for the old Fords, don't they?
Yeah, they've got loads of stuff for them.
Yeah. So we're just boring that one there, mate. We've got the V8 has all been bored, ready for the liners to go in. So as you can see there, I've got my nice little tower there I've built out of the Darton sleeves.
Leaning tower of liners.
Leaning tower of liners. I like that. And this is the block, mate. Quite an extensive bit of machine in there.
Yeah.
And whilst we were halfway through that, we were standing here discussing whether we should think in the near future about buying a fancy boring bar, because that would make a job like that very easy.
Just quicker, I suppose.
Quicker.
And,
We're talking CNC, all that. When we stop spending money on stupid cars, like a lot of people keep suggesting,
yeah.
I think that's the next thing we're going to do. Once these projects are done, mate, that's it for the cars, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
And
for a minute.
We might start thinking about upgrading some of the equipment.
So with this boring bar, what would it be? A boring bar? It can face blocks and stuff. And
some of them can't they?
You can also get ones that automatically home them.
I think that's a different machine.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So usually the ones that they can sort of face and bore the block all in situ without having to move it.
Yeah.
Like the Americans tend to use them because they do a lot of V8s, don't they?
Yeah.
They also come with the sort of jigs and what have you to set these things up easy enough. So I think that'll be probably the first bit of equipment I'll be looking for.
Yeah.
I think
That'd be good.
we are going to have to definitely in the not so distant future start thinking about replacing that bugger, because that's starting to play up a bit, isn't it?
It is.
And we do use it on a daily basis.
The rapid feed doesn't like to work.
It's no
very
longer
well.
rapid.
Yeah. But it works fine on the, the automatic feed.
Yeah, it's just the rapid. I think it's something to do with the clutch system.
Yeah,
They've got various
like
clutches
a clutch
in
pack
there.
in there, isn't there? It's
So
worn out.
it's all getting on a bit. I mean,
That's,
it's the only thing is the old stuff, like a lot of people say, they are brick outhouse.
Yeah. Well,
They don't make them like they used to.
That thing, well, it's been brilliant, isn't it, really? It's just
Oh God, yeah.
It's, you know,
I mean,
accurate
it's still fine. It just makes life a bit more difficult when you've got to, especially when you've got to wind it up and down.
Yeah,
you've got
that's
half
the
a ton.
problem.
You've got half a ton's worth of tables there. You've got to wind
No.
up manually. Not
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah, still does a good job, just not so quick anymore.
No, that's the thing. So yeah, in the that is our plan, guys. Probably in the next year or so, start having a look for some equipment, isn't it?
Like I was saying about those ovens that you can get. That bake
Yeah, well, we looked at
bake
them,
all the
didn't we,
stuff.
before we did all this.
Yeah. I like the idea of those.
Stick them in there, it bakes it, and it gets all the crust, gets it
Yeah,
all
any
crusty,
of the old
and
stuff off.
so that's something like that. Would be worth looking at.
I like the
A few
idea
bits
of
and
those.
bobs, mate. But yeah, the Lotus is on the way. You faced that already, so we can get that thing clean, painted, and when the bits arrive, start putting it together, innit?
Yeah.
Got another Lotus, which I've given him the go-ahead to bring in.
Nice.
So, I don't know, he's laughing.
Where are we going to put it?
I don't know where I'm going to put it. Well, hopefully this one, by the time he brings it in, this one will be nearly done, so we can exchange like for like. But over on the Lotus stand at the moment, mate, do apologise about the coffee. Just trying to wake myself up. We've got another Cosworth.
We do indeed.
Now, this Cosworth I haven't said anything about yet while it's been here. Customer's been on the phone. I think he was a little bit concerned that I just dumped it in the corner and weren't looking at it. But he did say that he was sort of partially restoring the underside of the car and that, so there's no major rush. But obviously I wanted to get it on an engine stand and get it inspected as soon as I could. But this is the Cosworth that we were talking about that's been going on for about 15 months now.
Yeah.
With a very unusual oil burning stroke usage, consumption.
Using loads, isn't it?
Using a lot of oil, yeah. The owner he's been good as gold, to be fair. It's been going on a long time, but it's one of those where he didn't use the car very often. So although it was running, he those long periods of time before he got to check the car the next time or test it.
Another test.
It just went on and on and on. Anyway, so this was the one that we built, I think it was July before last, wasn't it?
Yes, I imagine.
And then from about 200 miles of running in, he complained of it consuming oil, which I thought initially, I mean, we've done loads of these cars, I've probably done 100, and they just don't use oil when you built them. I mean, we have these things in knackered with about 10th hour ball wear and all the rest of it, the guides flapping about like a prick in a bucket, and they still don't consume that amount of oil. So it was a bit alarming to me when he said that. So I've got him to do the usual. I said, look, obviously you need to run it in or take it for a run in sort of period of miles before we can really start going any further. Try a running in oil, which he did. And it went on, as I say. And then October, we made the decision to take the lump out and bring it back in, and we'll inspect it.
So this was last October, wasn't it?
This was last October, so this was a year ago now.
Yeah.
So we did 2 or 3 videos on it. Obviously, got it to this state, did a video. Could see nothing untoward. The bores were...
measured fine.
They measured fine, as I do all of them. The finish looked absolutely fine. The ring wear looked fine. The piston looked fine. We checked the head out. All the guides were good. The seals were good. Everything you would check, for an oil consumption problem. Yeah, exactly.
Well, how much did you say it was using?
I think he said it was using about a litre for every 100 miles.
That's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hell of a
So
lot.
at the time, we've done our inspection on the motor. We've come to the conclusion that obviously, once it's left here as a bare tall engine, I can only then, if I can't find anything wrong with it, I can only then suggest to start checking other things. So he's put a couple of cores in the turbo since, I think. He's had the breather checked. He booked it in. It was a sort of joint decision of ours to book it in at PJ Motorsport. So they checked it, did a leak down test,
compression test, all the rest of it.
Yeah. Checked everything that they could in situ, and they said it was all sort of seemed fine. But it was evident on top of the piston crowns it was burning a bit of oil. So
oil was getting in there somehow. Yeah.
It's been a very weird one.
It has been.
So we're obviously, from them, we're about a year down the line, and we've sort of took the decision to pull the motor again,
Yeah.
and see what we got. Now, when we had it back in October, although it was all perfect, I thought, well, if I can't visibly see anything, what we'll do is we'll try another set of rings, deglaze, and just, you know, as a matter of course. But that hasn't made any difference. So when just before the customer took the engine out recently, I've given him the go-ahead to pull the cylinder head off, because what we were going to do is get the head sent to CTM and get Charlie and the boys just to put a sort of third set of eyes over it, if you like.
Yeah.
Make sure that they didn't see anything that we were missing. But when they pulled the head off, they were a bit alarmed at the finish of the bores. So they said they were a little bit rough, but when we've got it in, that all it is just the deglazing stones.
It's not run a lot since it was deglazed, does it? So
no, it hasn't run a lot. I can see
got that roughish sort of look, but they don't.
It's got a bit of a rough sort of look, but it's visibly deceiving, really, because you can see a bit of the original cross hatching and finish. Obviously, because it was bought, it would run in. So we've deglazed it. But going by the rings that have just come out, the pistons all look good. The rings, you can tell by the second ring here where it's shiny on the bottom, dark on the top. It's sort of halfway through running in, I would say. But it's a consistent
all the way around, isn't it?
It is, mate. Exactly that. Oil control rings all free. It hasn't started to pick up or anything like that. As I say, it all measures fine. So where are we with it now? The cylinder head all looks good again. So I have said to the owner, I've said, at the moment, obviously it was giving still the same problem prior to the October strip down, where it had the original Marla rings in. And we didn't deglaze it. It was just, you know, the original bore of us boring and honing it as we do them all. So it's a bit weird how I said what it may be is on the very rare occasion, probably only half a dozen times in the 25 years I've been here, we've had it where visibly you would never tell. Measures fine, but you bore it first oversize, and it creates like a hard,
on a bit work
hardened surface in the bore. And when you bore it first oversize, it doesn't quite take that out. And when you put new rings in, it just uses oil. The rings look like they're bedding in, but it uses oil like it's going out of fashion. We've had it before. You bore it again.
Didn't John say he's had that with a Pinto?
He's had it with a couple of cross flows, a Pinto.
Yeah, and he's bored them again.
We had it with a Z1000 Kawasaki bike. That was a very similar thing to this, where we tried different rings and what have you, even put different pistons and rings in after we bored it, used all like it was going out of fashion, bored it again, another set of pistons, no problem.
Weird that, isn't it?
Very weird.
Really weird.
So I've said the only thing I can come up with, I've even spoke to Charlie at CTM and he's had the same thing. It's hard to know what's caused it, but he said he's had it where it's doing that. You bore it again, no trouble whatsoever. So
very odd.
If it's that, we've got two options. We can go ahead and bore it again and hope that solves it. Deglazing it's not going to work if it's that. It's a waste of time going that route. Or we can stick a set of ductile iron liners in, take it back to standard. At least then he's got a bulletproof block.
Yeah.
And it's back to standard. He can push whatever power he wants out of it. You can eliminate the old cast iron work hardening theory because it's got brand new ductile iron liners in.
Yep. And
I think that's the route he wants to go.
Probably a good idea.
So we've come to some sort of an arrangement between us both. And as soon as I finish the V8, I'm going to get that up, get the liners on order, get them in. I've got to order a set of liners for that one anyway, which we're doing. So I'll order 2 sets of the liners and get them in there, mate.
Yeah.
I've got a set of pistons in stock for him. So we'll get it built up and fingers crossed, solves it. But it's very annoying when you get a job like this where there isn't anything. I would almost...
No, it's nothing obvious at all. You want something to be obvious.
I would much prefer to just take the thing apart and say, there's the cause.
Yeah,
at least you know.
There's just nothing.
No.
Like we'd noticed all these little sort of little marks in the bore as well and stuff. And it's sort
Well,
of
this is it,
misleading
and
'cause
it's
you see them, but you can't feel them.
no. But if
They're
you
not
have
really-
if you have a look round here, you can see where it's a bit. If you sort of stand back, you can see where it's glazy in areas,
Yeah.
glazy halfway down. I mean, that might be the problem. That might be it, where it's
Yeah,
sort
it's
of
a bit
glazy,
darker as well, isn't it?
glazy for the centre third, but it's all right at the top. So if that's what it is, then that's your
Yeah.
oil burning. But you're not going to be able to. There's no way of
No.
telling. Usually, the only way of telling is like that, where you've got an area that it's glazed.
It's
So
very odd.
it sounds far-fetched,
It does.
but we have had it before,
Yeah.
and boring it usually does solve it. But obviously, you know, we know that if we do stick liners in, we've come to an arrangement with it. It's an expensive job, but it will solve it.
Yeah.
So there we go. That is that, mate. That's where we are. He's fine with that. Obviously, our priority with anything like this is we want the customer to be happy, don't we?
Yeah. Well,
it's,
yeah,
it's
we-
not
we
even
do-
about
yeah.
the money. It's
No, we want it to be a good engine for them, and
Of course we
be
do.
able
Yeah,
to
we want it
use
to all go
and-
smoothly. We want them to be happy with the service, you know. But with things like that, unfortunately, it's difficult because as time goes on, the customer, understandably, gets sick to death of it. They think, well, I've had this engine done. It's smoking. It's got to be the engine, isn't it?
Yeah. No,
which
I get
which
where
it may
the
well
customers
be,
come from.
but you know, at the end of the day, we've just done the sort of tool motor.
Well, we've done what we can in terms of checking, you know, measuring it and visibly looking at it. But other than that, there isn't, you know, unless we can have the thing running,
This is the thing,
we
isn't it?
can't really. We
I
can't
mean,
go any
it's not
further than that.
it's not an issue that happens frequent enough for us to have to stick liners in everything. That's the
No.
problem. You know, it
Well, in
adds,
some stuff you just do the liners anyway.
yeah.
So,
I mean, it adds another £1,000+ to the bill
Yeah.
putting the liners in. So you're not going to do it on everything.
no.
You know, it's happened half a dozen times in 25 years. So it's very unfortunate if that's what's happened.
And very rare.
And it's the first Cosworth I've ever had it happen on, but it ain't the first Ford we've had. So there we go. If there's any engine reconditioners out there or ex-engine reconditioners and you've had the same thing or you've had something happen like that with your own vehicle, let us know in the comments.
Yeah,
Be interested to hear.
definitely.
But that's my theory at the moment. But we're going to leave it there, mate. And we're going to be back Wednesday.
We are
Thank you very
indeed.
much for watching and see you then. Cheers.